Yep. Hello guys, welcome back. No, I have not given up on this project, and no, I am not dead. I just was very busy with the exams that I had, so I couldn't stream for a couple of weeks. But now I am back, and hopefully we can continue this and have a very nice stream with this. The thing is that I want to start a little bit with object-oriented programming right now and start learning the basics of that. The goal is that after we learned about the basic OOP stuff, that we can write a very small program where you just there are some kind of buttons. There's like a car. When I press gas, it will speed up. When I press brake, it will slow down. And yeah, that will be the very basic thing that we want to do and maybe build up on it with collisions or other stuff. But we will see how this will develop. Yeah, in order to do that, we have to start learning a little bit about OOP to see what this is. And yeah, we're gonna just look it up. And as you know, by the way, I need to also explain this that this stream, the purpose of the stream is that I am going to learn on stream, so I don't know everything about C Sharp. There might be some mistakes, but I am good at programming. I know my stuff around it, as you probably have felt or seen in the previous streams, that I know how to solve the problems. I have the methodology, and yeah, if you don't understand or if I'm just going too fast, I would really appreciate it if you leave it in the comments. Then I will just re-explain everything and tell you about everything again. There's no problems there. Just tell me when you don't know and you can't keep up. Yeah, and we are going to work on the C sharp again. The thing is that the first part to learn about OOP is that we need to learn about classes. Okay? Classes, the thing is that it might be a good idea that I explain a little bit about this in another video with some kind of drawings. But classes are basically some kind of schematics. It's like a blueprint, and it's not real. If I define a class, there is nothing there. I'm just saying that if I want to use this class, I have to use this schematic. For example, I want to have a list of many students. Each of the student has an age, a name, and also a mark. I am going to define the class as student, and I'm going to give the properties of age, mark, and name. And then for each student that I want to add to the list, I need to create and populate the data of that class. And this is called creating an instance. So the classes is only the schematic that tells me what data type will be in that class. And when I want to use that, I have to create an instant. It's like the initiation that we had with the integers, that if I defined just an integer, that wasn't enough. I needed to define it and I needed to initialize it, give it a value. So integer itself is a class which tells me I can save numbers in it, but until I create an instant from it, I cannot use it. But there is of course a little bit difference between integer and also the classes that I'm going to define, because the initiation is a little bit different, and also I can use integers in my classes, and there are minor differences between them, but I don't want to get into it because that is a little bit too advanced. So what I need to know is that if I want to define a class, it's going to be like this. This access specifier, this is something that I always need to define, which tells me who has access to this class. There are different things. There are things like private, there are things like public, or just nothing. And we will see that when we can use what. The thing is that here we have this. We have access specifier, specify the access rules for the members as well as the class itself. If not mentioned, the default class specifier for a class is internal. Default access for the members is private. Okay, so this is what we have to keep in mind. I don't think that here it goes into it that what the access levels are for everything, so I'm just gonna leave it for that. But to explain it very quickly, it is like this, that if it is private, only you have access to it only from the class itself. If it is internal, you only have access from the same namespace itself. And if it is public, you can access it from this namespace or for another namespace, but we will see that later. Again, here we can have access specifier, we have data type and variables, and we can also have methods. We can have methods for each class. And this is the fun part about classes. It is that each method will be executed in the space with the data of that class. For example, as the car instant, if I have a car which has a property of speed, and I have a function of increase speed, when I increase speed, and when I have different car instances made, I have, for example, 3 car instances made, and if I increase speed on car 1, it will read the value of the speed of car 1 and increase that. And when I increase speed on car 2, the speed of car 2 will be increased. It will have no relevant access to any other cars. It will not change any values of another car. It will be something completely internal, and something internal will completely be changed. And this is what makes classes so powerful. It is that I can manipulate data on each instance completely separate, and I don't need to check with anything else. Yeah, so we can have methods like that. We can have defined methods, as many as I want like that. And here's an example of it. I have a class with box. There are 3 things in it: length, breadth, and height. And I have box tester. Then I can create some instances, and I can give values to that instances, and I can also manipulate it, say the volume and everything about it. So in order to do that, I said I want to create a car, but for that I want to actually also start a little bit with the GUI, to start writing projects in actually the window application form, so I have a little bit more control with buttons and stuff, and I will not be limited to only text input kind of stuff. So I'm going to go for the Windows application type. It's gonna take a little while to load, so meanwhile let's gonna check again. So the definition is only like this. This is only the definition. And then here, if I want to define it, I'm going to only write the data type, like the int, but I'm going to write the type, the name of the class that I have defined, then the variable that equals, and this is the initializing part. This is again like the giving the value to it, like the double, so I can use it. This will be only empty schematic and empty skeleton, and this will put a real thing in it. It's like I have the blueprint, and this will create the building, and I can save the building in here. Yeah, so here I have this, and I am going to add a button to it. Okay, I'm going to add a button to it. What I want to do is that I am going to define a class like car. Okay, so I'm gonna say class car, And for car, I will have different variables. I will have an integer speed. Actually, let's put it as float. I will have the float speed, and I will have a function. I will have a function void increase. How do you write it? Increase speed. Okay. And by the how much float amount. This will be a function amount. This will be a function which increases the speed by the defined amount here. I will have then here speed increased by amount. Okay. Then I have void decrease speed float amount. Okay, it's a very small program. It's very simple, but this is just a proof of concept so that we can understand how this works. So I am going to copy this, and it will be decrease by the amount. Okay. So I'm going to create a car right now then. Wait, Control A, Control K, Control F. Okay, now it's okay. So when the form is initialized, okay, then I am going to define here a variable. I will have a car 1. Okay, and actually I can initialize it here, new car. Okay, let's make this lowercase so that's easier for us. Oh, let's leave it uppercase. Okay. Now when I press the button 1, I want the speed to increase and show it in a label, actually. What? Okay. What the hell happened? Did I do something? Did I goof? Was I not supposed to change anything? Okay, it shows here, but why doesn't it show here? What did I do? Okay, I think I might have changed something that I wasn't not supposed to change. Oh shit. And that might have messed up this. Wait. Maybe I wasn't supposed to change this. Probably. Okay. It might have been that I was not supposed to change something here. The class can be designed, but it's not the first class in the file. Ah, okay. It must be the first class in the file. Okay, then I'm going to move this here. I think this it should be fixed. Okay, now it's fixed. Okay, that was a problem. So this is increase, and I'm going to change the name of this to inc button to be increase. The name is what will be used here so that we can understand when it's being clicked or not. Okay, and actually, like here right now, be increased. This is the button, and I will have I have access to every property, every function, every event that is triggered by this. And later we will see actually that this button here is an object itself, and it has a visual representation. And the properties that are here define how this is visually represented. So basically, when we learn about object-oriented programming, we will later also understand that this is an object which has been created, and it has an instant, it has a schematic, it has properties, it has values, and other stuff. But we will leave that for later. Now here I have a function which will be triggered, which will be called when I press this button. Okay, you can see it here why this happens, but I believe that if I go into this file, there might be a line which calls this event, and we can see it here. We can see it here. If b underlined increase that click is pressed, then this handler, this function, will be called through this event. Every class has three main things. It has properties, it has functions, and four things. It has properties, it has function, it has variables, and it has events. Events are things that will be triggered if something special happens. And when that is triggered, you can bind that event to a function so that when that event happens, one function or some functions will be called. Okay? Right now, if this click is triggered, this event, as you can see, there is the lightning bolt sign. This means this is event. And you can see in the definition is occurs when the control is clicked. So when I click on that, this event is triggered. Now with this line, this event is bound to this function, is button one underline click. As you can see here, I have the function. So basically whatever I write here will happen whenever I click this button in runtime. And of course, it is possible for me to add another function here, okay? For example, I can add function test, void test, okay? And here I will just say, message box, for example, okay? MSG box, oh, it doesn't have it? Does it have message box? Message box. Message box. Yeah, we have a message box. We have to create a new message box. Yeah, with the text. Oh, it doesn't work like this. Does it work like this? No. Okay, so we have to do it like this probably. We have to say message box t equals new message box. We have to initialize it like this. Okay, doesn't work like this. Okay, so what are the arguments for here? Why doesn't it show it up? What's the problem with you? Okay, it doesn't show me how many constructions I can use. Okay, whatever, should be alright like this. It doesn't show. I want to know. How can I construct this? How can I construct this? Why isn't this working? This should be working. Okay, whatever. I don't know, actually. Message box dot this is how it works. Message box dot show. Okay, this is how it works. Test function called. Okay, and here I am going to have this one function called. Okay, now here I am going to say this dot test. Okay, the signature doesn't match, that's a problem. Okay, I will just put this here, then this will be fixed. Okay, now look, if I run the program, okay, and I press this, first button underline one function called, then test function called. Okay, so as you can see, whenever I press the button, okay, these two functions are called. Okay, just because here I have defined that whenever click is pressed, these two functions will be called. You have to write it in this exact format. You have to write it exactly in this format. The reason why you should write it in this format, I will explain it a little bit later. But up to now, just accept it. Whenever you want to add an event to a function, you have to use this format to do that, okay? But I will revert this back to the usual self because I don't need actually these two functions. And as you saw, it doesn't matter what the name of here is. You can write any name here as long as this name and this name are the same, it doesn't matter. So, I am also going to put a label here. Labels are good to show information and they are read-only, so the user cannot edit them. That's why I'm going to show the speed in the label here. And whenever this button is pressed, okay, I want to increase speed. So I'm going to say car1 dot increase speed should work, but it seems it doesn't because the definition of this is not public. Might be because of this. Yes, as you can see, when I when I press the dot, I can see increase speed, but I cannot see decrease speed, and I cannot see speed because the definitions of the access modifier right now, they are internal, so I cannot access them. So I'm going to have this increase speed here. Okay. Oh, I need to define an amount. I'm going to increase the speed by 1. And actually, I am also going to make... So, the thing is that common courtesy of writing a program is that variables like this should not be made public. They should remain private, okay? Instead of using the variable directly, like this to write public, we usually use something called properties, okay? Properties are just basically like a function that has two types. It has get or set. Get is called when you want to know what the value is. So it's on the right side of the equation. But set is when you want to set the value. So it means that it's on the left side of the equation. When I have something like this, this reads the amount and adds it to this side. So this side is the set side, and this side is the get side. So basically what I will do is I am going to have something like this. Okay, I am going to have the get and set, and for the get I'm going to return the value exactly like a function, and for the set I'm going to set the code value. I'm going to set the value to the code. The thing that will happen is that basically other than having more code to write with the get and set, is that in the get and set, you can actually define other codes, okay? You can actually make, it's really like a function. It will be called, and you can modify the value. You can do something different with it. Like this right now, that I will show right now. I'm going to have float speed here. I'm going to have how was the definition of the property again? It was just, I'm going to define the public, the value, and then the name of it. Okay? So let's see. I'm going to have public speed, public float speed. Okay? Then I have the get. Then I have the get. Okay, the get is return. Now, actually, I'm going to return that as a string. And instead of just returning and just a number, I'm going to return a speed like the something like this. Return the current speed is plus speed. Okay. Okay, something like this. Then whenever I'm setting it, okay, but this will be a read-only function because I want the user only to access the speed through these two functions. I don't want to let the user change the speed directly by itself. I want to increase the speed and decrease the speed by these two functions. So right now, I can only, here when I have the car, I can only read the amount of speed. I can increase the speed using this function, but I cannot set a value to the speed. This will give an error to me. Okay, you see, it's read only. You can see it in the definition. Property or index or car speed cannot be assigned to. It's a read only. Okay, guys. I went a little bit more on the stream, but because the file got too long, the stream got too long, I decided to make the cut here. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much. Please remember to like it, to write any comments, any feedback, anything will be appreciated. And thank you for your support. I wish you a very nice day. I will upload the next episode very soon. And yeah, thank you very much. Omichini out.